What happens when you get everything you've ever wanted? What's left when the one thing that gave your life meaning, the struggle, is just gone? These are the words of a god, but they're also the desperate plea of a man who would give anything to be human again. You see, our story begins at the very end, an entire city just erased. An entity born from the planet's own rage comes down, declaring itself humanity's final judgment. This monster, it goes on about a holy war, about cleansing the human plague. It's this whole epic, world-ending speech. And the hero who shows up to meet him, his only response is, "I'm a hero for fun." Just look at his face. There's no relief, no triumph, as a god literally explodes behind him. All he feels is the crushing, hollow emptiness of a victory that meant nothing. So yeah, this isn't your typical hero's journey. Nope. This is the story of what comes after the journey's over. The war is already won, and he is trapped in a permanent peace that feels more like an endless void. So the big question is, how did he get to this point? What did this kind of power actually cost him? Well, to understand the god, we have to go back and meet the man. Let's rewind. 3 years earlier, before the power and before the curse. This was Saitama. Not a hero, not a god, just a failure. He was jobless, hopeless, and he had these dead, hollow eyes, the eyes of someone who had already given up on everything. You know, every rejection letter, every failed interview, they just chipped away at his soul, piece by piece, until there was almost nothing left. He was basically a ghost walking among the living. And then, when death itself shows up in front of him, looking like some kind of bizarre crabman, he doesn't even flinch. Life had already beaten him down so completely that a monster barely even registered. But then, in that moment of total despair, seeing a kid's life on the line, something just ignited. A tiny, forgotten spark, a childhood dream. And it was the first thing he had genuinely felt in years. A reason to finally fight back. That one decision, that single act of defiance, it lit a fire. For 3 straight years, he wasn't just training his body. He was on a mission to burn away the man he was and forge a god. And his training regimen, it wasn't about getting healthy. This was a ritual of self-destruction. He pushed his body past every conceivable limit, day in and day out, until his biology itself started to break and rewrite its own rules. And the cost? Well, it was obvious. As his physical power soared to impossible heights, something else was being stripped away. His hair fell out, the light in his eyes just dimmed. His humanity was vanishing. But somewhere, buried deep down beneath all that apathy and invincibility, an echo of the man he used to be was still there, and that man was desperate for a real fight. Then one night, he got it. In a dream, he faced an entire subterranean empire. He bled, he struggled, he felt the raw, terrifying, absolutely beautiful thrill of a battle he might actually lose. Look at his face. That's pure, unadulterated joy. The joy of the struggle. For the first time in years, he actually felt alive. He felt human. And then his alarm clock went off and shattered it all. And the cruelest joke of all, the very same monsters from his dream appeared in reality. But they were pathetic. The epic war he craved was over before it could even begin. The disappointment was absolute, just soul-crushing. And that, right there, that is the core of his tragedy. He achieved his childhood dream. He became a hero who could defeat any enemy with a single punch. And in doing so, he completely annihilated the very reason his dream ever mattered. I mean, think about it. Without a struggle, there's no fear. Without a challenge, there's no tension. Without the risk of failure, there can be no joy in victory. Without an equal, there's no rage. All that's left is an empty throne. This is the price of godhood. He didn't just lose his hair. He lost the ability to feel. He literally traded his soul for a strength that has no purpose. He stands on a pinnacle of power, completely alone. The strongest being in the universe is a victor with nothing left to win. He achieved his dream, only to find himself trapped inside a nightmare,
of his own making.